Hello, welcome to Sports Factor on Jegiqtv today. I remain your host, Obiaju Akachukwu Blair, and today we will be having the rundown of the past week, what happened in the Premier League, what's going to happen this coming weekend, and also there's been Carabao action in the English League, English Cup as they call it these days, and also midweek action in the Serie A and the Spanish League, and also big news from the Catalonia side, FC Barcelona, which we are going to be giving you these and many more when we come back on our short break. Do stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to Sports Factor on Jegiqtv today. Now, let's go straight to the tick of the action. Manchester United versus Liverpool on Sunday. That was the last game in the Premier League fixture, And then Manchester United were 4-0 down by the end of the first half. And throughout this week, there's been a whole lot of talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if he's going to be sacked, and Antonio Conte, Erik ten Hag, and so many names. Zinedine Zidane coming to Manchester United. And you know what we do in Jegiqtv? We always tend to bring up arguments because we speak facts. And I want you guys to put yourself in this situation, that you're the owner or you're the board of directors, you're part of the board of directors in Manchester United, and then you've seen what happened this past weekend against Liverpool. What is going to be your next line of action? Are you going to be sticking with the manager, or are you going to be putting the knife in him and bringing in a new man? What do you think about that? And also, there's been big managerial changes in the Spanish League as well, because then FC Barcelona lost to Rayo Vallecano from a goal from Radamel Falcao. 4 straight times he scored against FC Barcelona. Big game player, which obviously brought to the end of Ronald Koeman's tenure at FC Barcelona, because right about now, Barcelona are in talks to get Xavi Hernandez, who is one of their greatest players ever, to come to the club and be their new manager. So what do you think about this? What do you think about this whole managerial merry-go-round? Do you think that clubs bring in former players, legends, and people who've played in this club or have been involved in one capacity or the other to come back and coach the club? Do you think it's a good way to go about it? Because sometimes you might be successful with Pep Guardiola, Jordan Cruyff, and the rest, but many times you can never be always lucky with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Frank Lampard, Pirlo, and the rest. So what do you think about that? Ex-players better staying out of the whole management stuff, or should they take up more jobs in the world of football in their respective former clubs? When we come back on a short break, we'll be moving straight into the Premier League fixtures we're going to be having this weekend, because then there's lots of fixtures with big games, because don't forget the Champions League comes up next week. What do you think? The Premier League is back. Wow! After what, 5 days, the Premier League is back. And this weekend, there are lots of exciting fixtures in the Premier League, starting with Leicester versus Arsenal. And when you look at Arsenal this season, they started very badly. In fact, losing 5-0 to Manchester City. But since that game, Arsenal have not lost any game. They've had wins and they've had draws, but then they have a difficult trip to the King Power Stadium in the early kickoff on Saturday when they face Leicester City. Leicester City, who are high on confidence as well after beating, obviously, they beat Manchester United 4-2. And also they had a Carabao action in the midweek where they beat Brighton on penalties. So they are much more vibrant also in confidence and all that. Do you think Arsenal can go to the King Power and upset Leicester City? And in our next game, the 3 o'clock fixtures, don't forget the Champions League is back next week, so all Premier League teams have to play by Saturday, and they've managed to sandwich all the big teams on Saturday, because Liverpool will be up against Brighton. Liverpool, phenomenal side. They don't look like losing. They are on the run of 26 games now, 25 games without a loss in all competitions since last season. Phenomenal record for Jurgen Klopp's side. They're up against Brighton and Hove Albion, who are a very tough side. And let's not forget Manchester City, fresh from a Carabao loss to West Ham on penalties, this week, they're up against Crystal Palace, who been managed by Patrick Vieira, former Arsenal captain. And also, let's not forget Newcastle and Chelsea. Chelsea missing big names, Romelu Lukaku, Thibaut Werner. But Chelsea, phenomenal side. They won on penalties in the Carabao Cup against Southampton. And Thomas Tuchel will be expecting a dominant side to, obviously, when you win Norwich City 7-0 in the previous week, you will be expecting something similar. Don't forget Newcastle under new ownership, the Arab Saudi Arabian new owners of the PIF front, which have come into the Geordies to buy their club and give them more money and give the club more direction. They're up against Chelsea. And then in the 5:30 kickoff, which is the last kickoff of the day, Manchester United travel to Spurs. And the funny thing, well, about this game, because it's quite funny, because both managers are under pressure. Nuno Espirito Santo and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, these two managers are under immense pressure. El Saquito, that's what I'm going to call it. Whoever loses gets the sack. Although Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been given 3 games to try out his hand and see if he can solve the problems at Manchester United, the game at Spurs, the game against Atalanta at Bergamo, and also Manchester City at home. When we come back on our short break, we'll be going straight to the betting tips. I know you guys want to make money this weekend. I hope you followed the tips last weekend. If you didn't do, you don't have to miss this one, because then I'm going to be giving you betting tips. I'm going to try as much as possible to reduce it to like 3 games. Yeah, I'm going to reduce it to like 3 games so that you can put in an adequate amount of money to make good returns this weekend. When we come back on our short break, don't forget, remember Jegiqtv. Do stay tuned for this short break. Welcome back to a special edition of Betting Tips on Jegiqtv today. Don't forget, I remain your host, Obiaju Akachukwu Blair. And before we continue on the betting tips, there's been a breaking news in the world of sports generally, because in the World Cup, they call it the Mundial, 4 times every four, the edition has been held for once in 4 years. And then there's been talks with Arsene Wenger trying to change the way the World Cup is being done with the talk of 2 years. Do you think the World Cup should be done 2 years, or you prefer the 4 years, because then 4 years is kind of like very special? But these days there's talks about can we make it 2 years and all that. What do you think about that? And on that note, I bring you good news, because then David Beckham has been announced as the face of Qatar 2022. I mean, David Beckham, we all know him, former Manchester United player. He played for Real Madrid, he played for the LA Galaxy, he played for Paris Saint-Germain. And these days, what does he do? He owns a club called Inter Miami in the United States of America, and also, forget, he owns a club in England as well, Salford City. So he's a man who is involved with lots of businesses these days. And right about now, he's the face of Qatar 2022 World Cup. Massive, massive money. I mean, the numbers are staggering when you look at how much he's going to be making with this endorsement. Good luck to David Beckham. And now, if you want to be David Beckham, because then I want to make you money so you can have money like David Beckham, do listen to our short betting tips. This weekend, Liverpool versus Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm going to give you a free tip. Home over 1.5. Liverpool will score 2 goals. There's no way, I mean, Mo Salah is in the form of his life. Liverpool are going to score 2 goals against Brighton and Hove Albion. Spurs versus Manchester United. First half under 1.5, because I don't think both teams are struggling right about now to score goals, because then Spurs, they beat Burnley in the League Cup, and up until they scored the goal against Burnley, they had 0 shots on target, and it's been continued from the previous game they had against West Ham in the Premier League. And Manchester United, with all the attacking firepower they have, are struggling to hit the back of the net. So both teams, I would say first half under 1.5. In the first half, I do not think they would score more than 1 goal. If there's going to be a goal, it's just going to be 1. And then in our last tip of the day, I'm going to leave it to Arsenal versus Leicester. They always say don't back the early kickoff, because there's always something very, I don't know what they call it, is a fetish about the early kickoffs or whatever. But then Arsenal versus Leicester City. Leicester City home over 0.5. Leicester City will score against Arsenal, because Arsenal are not always good away from home, defensive in the defensive aspect of their game. So in that game, I'm going to say Arsenal will definitely concede against Leicester. So home team over 0.5. I give you that one free. If you want to be like David Beckham, if you want to be the face of next World Cup coming in 2026 or 28, whichever way they do it these days with the new rules as the Wenger ones, then you have to play our betting team. So don't forget what we discussed about on the show this week, and we talked about Manchester United with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who has 3 games to save his job. Barcelona has sacked Ronald Koeman, and there's talks about Xavi Hernandez coming in to be the next manager of FC Barcelona. And also, do not forget our betting tips, and don't forget the numerous games we have this weekend in the English Premier League. Do stay tuned on Jegiqtv. Drop your reaction, drop your likes, drop your comments on our YouTube pages, on our Facebook, on our Instagram pages as well. Don't forget to remain Jegiqtv, and this is Sports Factor. Do stay tuned for next week. Have a nice week. Thank you.